FedEx is facing some tough criticism on social media today after failing to deliver packages by Christmas due to severe weather across parts of the country, or so they say. The hashtag FedExFail even trending on Twitter today. So what's the impact on the company? Let's bring in Bloomberg's Ed Dufner. He's on the phone with us now from Dallas. Ed, explain to us how big a problem this is for FedEx, potentially.
A couple of things that are going on here. We saw back in 2013 that there was sort of this short-term reputational hit that UPS took when it was unable to deliver its parcels. And so that ended up spilling into some preparations in 2014 UPS took that ended up being too much preparation. They had people and facilities sitting idle. So you get that basically, sort of a short-term response to make sure that it never happens again. The second thing can happen, as it happened with UPS in 2013, they ended up, basically having to spend a lot more money to have people working over the holidays. We don't have the dimensions yet about how much, extra FedEx may have cost. That's something that we're going to be checking on today. But those are the kinds of things that FedEx is going to be looking at, to sort of wrap their hands around this, make sure it doesn't happen again at such a critical shopping season.
And do we have any sense of whether this is related to the apparently dramatic increase in purchasing online, particularly with Amazon?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that happen, at this time of year. Obviously, you've got companies that are promising free shipping, and they've got to try to mate up that consumer demand that's flowing through, the retail channel with how much capacity a shipping company is going to have. So, you always have to sort of worry about how much of that flow is going to show up, how much is the shipping company going to be able to deliver. The second piece is, December is typically not a great month for air travel. Things are a little warmer this year than usual, but typically at this time of year, you are going to start running into delays. Put those two things together, with a sort of a short-term surge in the midst of what can be, sort of bad weather, and that real delicate balance, becomes very, very noticeable because everything is geared toward getting packages delivered by December 25th. So you wouldn't have that be quite as noticeable at any other time of year.
Right.
Yeah. So, Ed, I'm wondering, even if FedEx does have these logistical problems, they need to get around. I mean, FedEx seems like they're really the only game in town when it comes to air, when it comes to that fast next day delivery. Is that the case? I mean, if retailers aren't happy with FedEx over this, can they go somewhere else?
Well, UPS also has, a very large air network. The companies as are ranked by size. UPS is actually the largest package delivery company if you look at all in everything from their air plus their ground operation. FedEx's sort of differentiation is a larger air operation. They have the world's largest cargo air operation. So that's the place where you would see a trade-off to somebody decide, I want to go with a different one of those big two.
Well, I have a basic rule of thumb, which is that after December 20th, I don't trust anybody's promises to deliver within 2 days. But Julie's got some data from the terminal. Julie?
You have only yourself to blame.
You have only yourself to blame, exactly.
You guys were just looking at a comparable chart of FedEx and UPS going back 1 year. I wanted to take it back 4 years because you go back and include those problems that UPS had a couple of years ago. So UPS is green here, FedEx is white, and as you can see, obviously FedEx has outperformed. This is adjusted for percentage changes, so it accounts for basically the percentage change we've seen in each stock over the past 4 years, and so FedEx has been the outperformer here. What's interesting is the UPS more or less has been in an upward trajectory, at least since it had those issues. So as you just heard the discussion, it didn't see any sort of long-term effect necessarily from those issues at the holidays a couple of years ago. That said, it's still underperforming FedEx in terms of its stock performance.
Ed, do logistics companies in general have a handle on changing consumer habits here? It seems like every year they're surprised. Is demand for last-minute shipping in December outstripping predictions every year?
That's certainly what it has looked like the past couple of years in terms of, the amount of, goods flowing through the channel. Last year, UPS really did seem to get a handle on it. They ended up doing a couple of different things. They had extra people in different locations. They also set up what they were calling mobile villages, essentially, sort of pop-up sorting centers, using some of the equipment and personnel housed in, basically the equivalent of trailers. And the thing is, they ended up having too much capacity last year. They did seem to be able to sort of match that short-term demand, consumers with what their facilities were, again, to the extent that some people didn't have quite enough to do. So this year, they kept the same number of temporary employees as they hired last year at UPS. As far as we know right now, it looks like their system seemed to work okay this year.